Welcome to Aligned Energy with me, Manon, a place where ancient wisdom meets modern health and wellness. People are waking up, questioning who they are and why they're here. For high-performing women, the climb to success can leave them feeling stuck, depleted, or disconnected. But what if the answer isn't in doing more, but in aligning with your true essence? I'm Manon DeVerich, and together with Dr. Pat, this show is about coming home to yourself unapologetically. Through education, ancient wisdom, and modern science, we explore energy as the foundation of healing and transformation. Join us now on Aligned Energy and step into the life you were meant to live. Aligned Energy starts now. Hello, hello, and welcome. It's Manon. I'm super excited to be here today with two of my beautiful friends, Elizabeth Bloom and Linda Combs. And we are going to be talking about a subject that I am just learning more about by the day, how frequency can be used as medicine. And as we know on this show, we are electric bodies that have fields that are influenced by frequencies and vibration. And every day I'm just reminded about uh, the frequencies that we're choosing to to be in and around, and just being more intentional and conscious about what that actually looks like for bringing in more health and wellness into our bodies. So let me start by introducing each one of these women. Elizabeth Bloom is a doctor of holistic medicine and homeopathy. She's been a holistic health practitioner for 60 years. She founded and directed clinics in Los Angeles and London that were early leaders in holistic medicine, and for the past 26 years runs Elizabeth Essentials, where she personally formulates and hand blends every product that goes out the door. Linda Combs is an education innovator and a pioneer in the field of sound and human well-being. She's the founder of the Music as Wellness Community Collective and the studio's Education Foundation nonprofit. She's a certified biofield tuning practitioner and Himalayan sound bowl practitioner, and the creator of her own framework, Quantum Knowing, which brings together intuitive awareness and embodied coherence in service of human potential. Wow. Wow. So, today's conversation is about essential oils as frequency medicine and what impact frequencies have on our health and wellness. It's not universally known or accepted that we are vibrational beings of light. And so you can imagine debates abound about the extent to which both the frequencies that you can hear and those that you cannot hear play in our healing. Elizabeth and Linda created something together called Sacred Union, and I am thrilled for them to share for the first time on air how it came to be and what it's actually inviting each of us toward. Welcome, welcome, Elizabeth and Linda. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having us. This is a great opportunity. So, since you've talked about Sacred Union, let's just dive right in and see how we came up with this, and then we'll backtrack if that's okay. That sound good to you, Linda?
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Sure.
Linda and I were introduced, and we immediately felt a connection. And through her work and my work, she suggested that I'm going to let you tell that story because you're the one who came to me with it. How about that? I'll throw you under the bridge right now.
No worries. I love it. So we were at a breakfast meeting a friend of ours had invited us to, and Elizabeth started talking about what she does, her work and her company. And as happens to me a lot, I got this little message, ding, 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 the mailbox slot. Something came in and it was like, that's the woman you want to talk to about your idea for Sacred Union. And I was like, oh, it certainly is. So we had a great time. And then we met again at one of our other gatherings. And I came up to her and I told her about this idea that I'd had because I've been doing a lot of work around bringing the masculine and the feminine energies into the body, into wholeness, and working with them from that point in the heart center. So I talked to Elizabeth about this and I said, I've been using this recipe of essential oils as part of that process. And not only on myself, but on my clients. Because when I do sound work, I always use essential oils. And with some of my clients, I'm doing deeper work. And part of that is the sacred union work. So she was totally thrilled, very excited. She was like, absolutely, I definitely want to do it. So we made a date and got together at her place. And she has this incredible cabinet and this whole, studio of oils from all over the world. Oh my gosh, what a treat to be able to go in there, see them, smell them, feel them. And we just started playing around and I showed her the oils that I was using and she loved them. So I think that's a pretty good, explanation of how we started the process.
Wonderful. And Elizabeth, from your perspective, how do you feel that all came together? What was going on in your mind?
Oh, it was magic. The minute she talked about the sound and oils and frequency, which is what I'm all about, because there's everything in the universe has a frequency, and we know this, and it's been proven through science and Rife and all sorts of people. And essential oils, there are people that will tell you that they don't have frequencies, but I don't. I mean, they have frequencies for me, and that's how I work. So there's a high, medium, and low note to all essential oils. And when she told me the oils that she had used, which I will go ahead and just spurt out right now, there was rose, jasmine, neroli, lang lang, frankincense, and vetiver. And vetiver is a very low frequency oil, which is a very grounding. And then the rose, jasmine, and neroli and lang lang are all very high frequency oils. So you've got all of these interplays going on. And it was what I've done my entire professional life with essential oils is I've never sat down with a business plan and said, okay, I'm going to have 80 products or 50 products. And there's always a need that comes about or something that happens. And then I write out what I would like the blend to do, what my male side of the brain tells me that it should do. And then I go into the lab and I go into a meditation. And I ask all of my spirits and the oversouls and all the essential oil gurus out in the world to talk to me. And I get the formula. And then I sometimes surrender immediately to the formula. And other times it takes my other side of the brain a while that says, oh, that's not possible. But this one came together. It was just magic. It was in a matter of minutes that the formula came, and I just was very happy with it. And then blended it up, and it was euphoric is the only word that I can use.
Mm-hmm.
The bringing it from the way I blend is, it's not a scientific point of view, but it took time to bring it into a larger quantity from that formula so that it continued to work, and that was the real challenge. So it was it 3 months it was April to August when we launched it finally. So bringing it into reality was a whole other side of the equation rather than the creation of it. The creation was magic and it just happened instantly.
Yes.
The reality of it.
That's a perfect example, right, Elizabeth, of the masculine and the feminine energies.
Exactly.
And how everyday life, right? We had this beautiful dream, both of us, we put our dream together, and then your masculine was tasked with creating the container for that dream.
Oh.
You did beautiful.
Yeah, it was challenging to say the least, but my feminine side kept telling my masculine side that it's all going to be okay. It's happening, and need to be patient. And I was talking myself down off the high horse every day on this, and sleepless nights because what if this doesn't work, and what if that doesn't? It was hysterical. And if I take myself back to 2000, when I created my first blend, which is called Serene, That was a blend of 21 essential oils, and nobody in the industry blends with 21 oils. It's just unheard of. And when that formula came through, I was, I couldn't, I just said, you've made a mistake. It's not possible. You can't do this oil with that oil. And I was fighting. I mean, I literally was, and it took me a year to surrender to that formula. I blended it, I kept passing it out to people, and they were having amazing results with it. And I still couldn't come to terms with that you could have 21 essential oils. And it balances the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system and the neurotransmitters in the brain. And it has proven time and time and time again to be phenomenal for all sorts of, you know, disorders, I like to call them, and symptomologies that people have and children have, and it's very effective. But it was definitely a challenge for me. So if I look at, as I said, each blend that is in our line has come about because of a request. For example, Rapid Relief, I had a baseball pitcher, professional baseball pitcher, who was having to have cortisone injections in his arm every time he pitched. And I said, you can't, he was young. I think he was about 24 at the time. I said, if you continue this, you'll be a cripple. And what am I going to do? And I said, well, I can blend up some essential oils, but it's going to smell, and you can try those out. Well, that's how Rapid Relief came about. And within 2 weeks of using it prior to pitching and immediately afterwards, every 4 hours to get the inflammation and the pain levels down, he no longer was having the cortisone injections. And a lot of athletes and professional dancers and weight builders and things like this have used it. We were on the wellness team for the US Golf Open for several years, and the golfers were using it. So there are many stories of that success. But again, it was that going into the lab and creating something and then passing it around and watching it work. And those are frequencies. Everything has to do with frequencies. The human body vibrates at a fairly low frequency, and that's when it's in its optimal state of health and well-being. And we can probably show that on slide 3, Emily, if you want. For example, essential oils are the oldest medicine known to man. They predate Chinese and Ayurvedic medicine. And there are hundreds of references to them in the Bible, the Quran, and the Egyptian manuscripts. And they are oxygenating molecules. They also balance the pH of the body. They cross the blood-brain barrier. They're natural chelating agencies. They're magical. And they're also extraordinary aromas that just even smelling them lift you up. And when you smell them, they go through the orifice of the nose into the limbic system of the brain instantly. When you apply them to the skin, they go in systemically into your bloodstream in 10 to 20 minutes. And essential oils also don't know the pathological disease names. They don't know whether you've got a virus or a bacterial infection, and they don't know whether your hormones are estrogen or testosterone dominated. They just go in and do their balancing act. So you don't have to have specific, you don't have to have one that's just for inflammation and one that's just for pain, or one that's just for this and one that's just for that. If you've got the right blend, it can do multiple things, which is what I've built my whole company on, is having 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 blends. Like ImmuShield balances bacteria, virus, fungus, and mold in the body. It doesn't care what the diagnosis is. It just goes in and boosts the immune system and helps to balance it out. So that's the beauty of the essential oils. And people will come into me and they'll say, but I take lots of supplements and I do juicing and I'm organic. And I say, okay, great. How's that working for you? Then why are you here with me? Why are you asking me all these questions? And why do you still have all these things going on? And the slide will show you that fresh produce has up to 15 megahertz. Dry herbs, 12 to 22. Fresh herbs, 20 to 27. And a healthy human body vibrates around 62 to 65 megahertz, and that's with no symptoms whatsoever. So when you add all of that up, you see that you're having to be juicing bundles. You'd have to be taking so many supplements. And I still do all of these things, and I recommend them to my clients. but 1 or 2 doses of an essential oil, an application of an essential oil, can raise the vibration so that the physical body, the physical, mental, and spiritual bodies can begin to align. And that's what you want. And that's what frequency does. So there's and then people will also say, well, and I also say to people, do not take essential oils internally. That's dangerous. And it's important that when you're working with essential oils, that you work with somebody that knows what they're doing. And it's important not to be utilizing essential oils, whether you're applying them to the body, you're inhaling them, diffusing them, to know which ones are best for your system at that particular point in time. Experimenting around is not a great idea, and certainly not taking them internally, and not taking them from somebody that you've bought through a multi-level marketing company that has no idea anything about essential oils except what they've read in the catalog and how they're passing that information on because it's a marketing tool. So if we go to slide 4, you'll see that, for example, it takes 30 roses to produce 1 drop of rose oil. Okay, 60,000 roses to produce 1 ounce. I mean, that's intense. So if you're putting that into your mouth and it's going into your system, it can burn your esophagus. It can do harm to your internal organs, etc. The one that I love, because in the Sacred Union that we talked about, has the rose oil, which is a 320 hertz vibration. So 1 drop of rose oil can just elevate the spirit instantly. And if you smell it even in a 1 ounce jar, just the pure rose oil, it stinks. It's so intense. It does not smell like a beautiful rose that you've picked out of the garden. That has to be into a carrier base or into a blend in order for its aroma to open up. Okay, so there's a lot that goes into choosing the oils and blending them to have the best benefits. For example, jasmine is another one of my favorite, and we used jasmine sambac, which is the night blooming jasmine. And it takes 8,000 hand-picked blossoms in the dead of night to make 1 milliliter, which is approximately 25 drops of jasmine oil. And if they squeeze the jasmine, they ruin it because you don't have the oil. So you can imagine why these things are so expensive when you've got people out in a field gathering 8,000 hand-picked. If you've ever seen a jasmine plant, it's not like a rose. They're tiny little bitty blossoms. So, and the jasmine is 181 hertz. The neroli is 220 hertz. Lang Lang is 200 hertz. So you've got 4 oils in Sacred Union that are incredibly high vibration oils. And then you have frankincense, which even is referenced in the Bible. That's 147 hertz, which is what we call a medium note that helps the high vibration come into coagulation or symbology, symphony. And then vetiver, which is 38, is extremely grounding. So we needed something to be grounding that allows the energy to come through it and back and forth and keep moving. And that's the blend of Sacred Union. So it has a lot of potential there. And for example, I go back to the hertz or the pounds, 500 pounds of lavender, because the lavender is something that everybody knows about and everybody uses or has used. 500 pounds of lavender to produce 1.5 pounds of essential oil, which is approximately 24 ounces. So you begin to understand why what they call therapeutic, what I call organic and wildcrafted essential oils are expensive. And they just are, because it takes, and you have weather conditions, and you can go to slide 5, which will show you it's the time of day that the product is gathered, the amount of pounds used to produce the oils that then come to us who are blending them, the global weather conditions. You can have droughts, you can have rain, crops can be destroyed, and then all of a sudden you have a lack of crop. There's more demand on the world stage right now for essential oils than there is supply. And organic, wildcrafted versus commercial, which are sprayed And if you're using these things for health purposes, you have to have organic or wildcrafted essential oils. You cannot use commercial grade. And the monetary exchange rate, that fluctuates all the time. I mean, I'm bringing in oils from all over the world. So the monetary exchange rate makes a big difference in the pricing. And the age of the plant, because you don't necessarily plant something and get an essential oil out of it immediately. And there's certain plants that are on the endangered species list. For example, sandalwood, and I only buy my sandalwood from India. The one Mysore, sandalwood Mysore. There are sandalwood farms, beautiful farms in Australia with the same Latin name, but because it's a different latitude and longitude, the chemical constituents are different. So the healing properties are different. And so is the aroma. So, and it's much less expensive, but I won't get it from there because it doesn't have what I need it to have from a healing point of view. So that's just a quick overview of the levels of frequency and what goes into producing something that has then come out of the magic of, oh yes, won't this be wonderful?
That is that is so much information in detail, and I've heard this a couple of times now, and I still take something else away from it each time. I love that deep explanation that we just aren't getting from any other brands. It's just not general knowledge at all. So I so appreciate knowing that. Something that I would love for you to just back up and cover is like why I feel like flower essences and homeopathy in general are just not embraced or promoted in the States, but they were in London when you were there. You know, I know you were saying that it was more integrated into the healthcare system. Like maybe you could just speak to what it means to be, a doctor of these things and have this information that's available in certain parts of the world and not in others, and maybe why.
Oh, you know, it's a very dear, dear subject for me. My homeopathic degree came from the British Institute of Homeopathy. And the royal family has always used homeopathy. Homeopathy and what I call organic holistic medicine is utilized all over the world. In this country, I mean, I left, I studied in the 60s as a medical esthetician before it was ever called a medical esthetician, all throughout Europe and Israel, France, Germany, England, and came back and opened my first clinic in the late 60s in Los Angeles, where nobody even knew what an esthetician was. And I was utilizing my own, I was making at that time my own skincare products and my own cosmetics, etc., because everything was so toxic. And then I went and got my homeopathic degree from the British Institute and my holistic medicine degree from England as well. So, it, it, without getting too much into the deep dive, the pharmaceutical industry in this country is trying to ban homeopathy. And they don't want these remedies that are there that will help people be well and healthy. They're health remedies, they're not sickness remedies. And it's free, and it's not free in the sense that it's monetary free, but the freedom to choose in the rest of the world is something that has not been available in this country. I think that is changing, but it's not changing fast enough. And I've been very conscientious about not speaking out too much because I didn't want the target on my back. And I think it's time for people to have choices. Homeopathy has been around since, the 30s. It's used very effectively. So has been essential oils, been around longer than that. And flower essences that you spoke about, the Bach flower essences, etc., have been around again since the early 40s. And I've used all of them. And when I came up with Serene, I really caught in my brain at that time in the year 2000, I wanted an essential oil rescue remedy, which the Bach flowers have something called rescue remedy. And I wanted an essential oil rescue remedy, and hence that's what Serene became.
Mm.
So it's time. We're breaking through what's breaking down. And our quote, healthcare system, which is not a healthcare system, it's a sickness system. It's a sickness managed system in order to keep us continuing to rely upon drugs and surgeries and treatments and things. And please don't misunderstand me. I love Orthodox medicine when I need it. And when I've broken many bones this lifetime doing stupid things in sports and whatnot, and when I need surgeons and I need medicine, I will be the first person there. But I don't need it on a daily basis to keep myself healthy and well. There are multitudes of other things that people can do, but it's not taught here. And the language of our body, the language of our system, of our health, is something that is not spoken in this country as it is spoken in other countries. Ayurvedic medicine, I mean, practically everybody living in India knows about Ayurvedic medicine and or uses it. Everybody in Asian countries uses Chinese medicine. I mean, I could go on and on and on. And it's crazy that in this country, we don't teach our children and ourselves how to find ways to be whole and healthy, to take care of ourselves.
Well, I consider myself to, for my purpose to be an evangelist of vibrational medicine, of energy medicine, and help raise awareness for what that really means. And the premise of energy medicine is that our bodies are designed to heal themselves
Yes.
and that they need to be in balance in order to heal themselves because of the way that we are living and the toxins that surround us and the things that we ingest and the EMFs in the air and what's in our
Yeah.
water, everything is throwing us out of balance. So I love this so much because it's raising awareness that everything that we put on us goes into our bloodstream, for
Absolutely.
one, but also just everything as frequency is influencing these electric health fields that we have, and it just invites people into more intentional living and what else they can do beyond the diet and nutrition that you mentioned. And we'll talk about intention more at the end because I want to invite Linda into this conversation, and then we can have the intentionality bit come together at the end. But I just wanted to kind of bridge that for a bit because my show is all about energy and energy healing and awareness and waking up to all of these beautiful things. So
Yes. And, having said all of that, I mean, we are, we have the ability, as you said, to heal. But if we don't give ourselves permission to understand what that means, then we can't activate it. And the essential oils can play a beautiful part in supporting our hormones, our immune system, our brains, our heart, our physiological and our intimacy. And there's just so much out there
mhm.
that, you know, the essential oils can do and sound can do and healing and people like yourselves who can give information to people that can empower them to take their health to the next level and to own it, that they're not at the mercy of anyone, be it myself or a doctor or a healer of any kind. They can take from all of these venues and all of this information and begin to feel what feels right for them at any given point in time. And what may feel right today may not be what you're going to do in a year or two. What things that I did, 20, 30, 40 years ago have evolved tremendously. And some of the things have evolved to the point that I'm still using them and utilizing their techniques because they're so valuable.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't get to be 77 and be of great health out of accident. I go back and my dear parents both had Parkinson's, rheumatoid arthritis, cancers, all sorts of things. So if I bought into my biological DNA, I would not be where I am today.
Right.
So there's a lot to be said about choosing how we live and what we put into our bodies and what we put onto our bodies, including cosmetics, etc.
Yeah.
We're surrounded by toxins and the air, the water, the food, the products that we use in our house or on our bodies you have to start really reading labels and digging in, because things are hidden. It'll be called something, but when you do the deep dive, you'll see that they're hiding other toxins in that something.
Yeah.
So it's our responsibility as individuals to question and to find people to mentor us and to learn and make wise decisions.
Right. And to come back and, like you said, to use our own discernment and see how something sits with us instead of
Yeah.
taking the word of somebody wearing a white coat or somebody that's promoting it in a commercial or making it look good in Instagram. You know,
Yeah.
really just taking a
Yeah.
beat and sitting with how you feel about it. And the other thing I just wanted to say is I'm hoping that we can start moving not just away from pain, but into vitality. You know, I think that most people on the planet are living with physical and emotional suffering. And I more than anything would just love us to evolve to a point where we're optimizing our vitality and our joy and our aliveness and really get the full use out of this experience that we have here on Earth to have this body and have all the upside and potential that's available to us instead of just trying to get out of pain and limp along. So,
Absolutely. And it's also a choice. We make choices 24/7. So if something's not working, then we have the choice to change it. And how we change it is by integrating with people around us that have information to share with us to help make those changes.
yes.
And a simple thing that I could add to that is that, you know, when you think about essential oils, they are so, and the ones that Elizabeth uses specifically are so fine tuned. They are at such a high vibration, and each individual oil is curated, like Elizabeth was saying, so specifically that the tuning of those oils is what you can use to tune your body every day. So if you think of your body as music or a musical instrument, which it actually is, if I were to put microphones inside the body, you would hear a beautiful symphony. So by using those beautiful, elegant, fine-tuned essential oils and using them, let's say, with certain pressure points on the body, with intention, um, through meditation, or just, applying them generally, you can lift your entire body and tune it every day. So you can walk out of the house tuned and ready to then present yourself to the world and to the day. And then that attracts, when you're out in the world, exactly what it is that you are putting out. The music, you are spreading the music as you throughout the day, as you move through your world. So I think that's an excellent little visualization to keep for that you were just talking about, Manon.
Yes. And so, Linda, while we have you front and center, you add a whole nother dimension to this conversation with what you're bringing to the world in sound. And so, I would love for you to share how sound became the center of your practice.
Well, that's a long story, but sound was really important for me during a time in my life when I and my daughter were not doing well. I won't go into the whole story, but we were in a place physically where we needed support. And I happened to hear, and I was in a crystal store, and I happened to hear this gorgeous crystal bowl singing somewhere in the store. And I was like, oh, I love that sound. Oh, you could just feel it in your body. So I took it home with me and started just playing around with it. So that was really my very first introduction to sound as wellness or sound as medicine. And then that started to grow. And then in 2018-19, I decided through some friends of mine who were sound bowl practitioners to practice. They had given me a session and it just totally changed my reality. I mean, I had been working with that particular bowl and I'd had other sound bowl sessions from different individuals, but that particular protocol just totally, I mean, changed my world. And so I asked them, I said, well, oh my gosh, can you teach me what you know? Because this is what I want to do. You know, it was just one of those instantaneous things. And they're like, no, but we do know someone you can study from.
No.
That was, I picked up the phone the next day and I called Sarin Shrestha, who has Atma Booty in Colorado. He has a beautiful college there, he and his wife. And he picked up the phone. So, you know, right then I'm like, oh, okay, this is like meant to be. He picked up the phone, we're talking. He was just such a lovely being and so welcoming. And so within a month or so, I flew down and studied with him, and the rest is history. And so he and I work together right now. We have a music project, and it's just been a beautiful addition to my life. And it's also helped me through my health practice, my own and my clients. So I feel so blessed to be able to have found this practice, be able to offer it. I know you had a session, Manon, and I think maybe you could speak a little bit about that.
It was fantastic. I was on a massage table and I was surrounded by bowls and instruments, and then there were even bigger Himalayan bowls on top of me. And then plus you were using your intuitive healing wisdom as you moved through me, and you used the forks and you used oil and selective pressure points and with intention as anointing oils. And we talked about the intention of the healing session overall, and then guidance came into you and through you. And I had a very profound shift on the table. It was amazing. Highly
Wonderful.
recommend.
And it's just such a joy for me to offer that. You know, sound is, if I were to put, well, when I do, and I do this for my clients, I'll put sound, oh, excuse me, I'll put water in a sound bowl and I will sing the bowl or strike the bowl. And you can see in the bowl the water bubbling up. And it starts to then separate into four chord quadrants. And you can see how this sacred geometry starts happening, and the water actually, you know, sprays up. It's bubbling so much from the frequency of the bowl. And that is what's transpiring internally in your blood system, throughout your system, and through the mitochondria, and through the bones, and through all of that. That's what's going on. And what's great about sound is that it will go exactly to where the body needs it. It does not have to be directed. It has its own intelligence. So, for example, my sound bowls, they are all made in Sarin Shrestha's village. And so they're all made by, you know, artisans and monks that do chanting and intention over the bowls. The bowls then are magnetizing and bringing in the energy of the what they call the spirit of the bowl. So each of my bowls not only is a note or a frequency, it has a spirit on top of that. And that combination in the body is absolutely profound in what it can do. Um, and so it just is one of those practices that keeps expanding because sound also keeps expanding.
Mhm.
And one of the things I wanted to talk about was Elizabeth and I started talking about the oils, and I had never done this before with oils.
Fabulous.
She has this incredible lab full of, oh my gosh, I just love when I go over there, just walk in that room with all these oils. I said to her, I said, how about I do a sound bath specifically with intention for the oils? And she was all game, right? She was like, yes. And so can I? And she sat there during this, and I had never done that before. And it was such a powerful experience for both of us. And you could feel her lab isn't super big, it's contained, but the sound in the room was delicious. It was just luscious. And the sound was, I could just feel it, you know, moving and swirling and participating in the oils intentions as well. And so now we've infused all the oils of Elizabeth Essentials with sound. And when we were done, there was no question that we had raised, right, Elizabeth,
Oh,
the
absolutely.
full the
And
full vibration.
I had intended to videotape her doing this, but I was so out of my body that I couldn't even hold the phone. I was lucky to be able to sit in the chair and just go with it because it was so uplifting and intense. And I thought, why would I want to try to videotape this instead of just being in the moment? And being in that moment was heavenly and magical. So we
Yeah.
will be doing it on a more ongoing basis, I hope, too.
Absolutely. And not because the oils have lost their
Yeah,
intention from
not at
these,
all.
continues. You strike a note, that note is never lost.
Yeah.
That is my philosophy, and I know that from other um, sound scientists that that note continues forever.
Yeah.
So what we will do when we go back again is we'll bring a different intention. So through our intention and through our focus, we will bring the sound together and ask it then to manifest within the oils that intention. So we'll continue to do that. So when you buy one of Elizabeth Essentials products, you are also getting a very beautiful, elegantly enhanced oil with sound, which I think we're probably one of the few
I don't know
places in the
anyone
world.
else doing that. No.
No.
Yeah.
And it was profound enough that it prompted an entire website redesign,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
One thing begat the next.
Oh, that's where my brain was going crazy. Yes, because I had have to incorporate all of this, and we still haven't finished it because there are going to be blogs on the new website talking about what we've just talked about. Because for me, it's customer service and it's education. It's one thing to, yes, I have to keep the business afloat financially, but my mission is to educate people and to give customer service one-on-one to all of our customers and clients. And that's what's missing in the world today.
Yeah, we're not getting this education anywhere
No,
else.
no. Me, it's all about educating and making wise, informed decisions and going where there's love and respect and where the energy takes you and where the clients who find me. I don't do massive marketing and advertising campaigns. The people who find me, like the US Open, Alaska Airlines carries our products on their employee website. Um, the people who find me are meant to work with me and vice versa. So thank you for this podcast too. This is
Yeah,
my first
well,
live podcast in all of my life. I've done lots of Zoom trainings, but my first live podcast. So thank you, Manon, for being a first.
oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. I'm honored. And I count myself among the blessed to have found you
Oh, thank you.
personally and professionally.
Thank you.
So, Linda, you didn't say the part about how the bowls were infused with the mantras and the affirmations while they were being made also. So I just wanted to add that in because it's just like further testament to how multidimensional we're just stacking layers on layers of goodness and frequency and healing. Like it's just compounding.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you for mentioning that because yes, it's such a wonderful component because that's what makes those bowls different from bowls that you might just get on Amazon or from other purveyors is the focused and intention process. And my teacher, Sarin, is very, very particular about each bowl that he curates. And for anybody that is interested in sound bowls or learning about sound bowls, I highly, highly suggest Sarin's school, Atma Booty. And he has a beautiful nonprofit called Soul Medicine, and he supports his orphanage in the communities that he works in Nepal. And I'm also working with another group called I Matter, You Matter, and that is run by a man named Joseph Wooten and his wife Stephanie Wooten. And they work with veterans and individuals that have been challenged through that process and they have a fabulous nonprofit. And so the three of us have come together to create a music series that uses sound in a unique way to support wellness. And without going into great detail, that unique way is recording the sound bowls in a particular audio format that really allows the body to listen to those instruments at a deep, deep level as if they were live.
Mm.
And so we're really hoping that through this work, we can also bring sound and sound frequency to everybody, because not everybody can go to a sound practitioner. Not everybody can go to a sound bath, or they have that in the interim. They can do those things, and yet they still have something in the interim to help support their frequency. And
Yeah.
so this particular sound recording process is called DSD. So when you listen to music, you listen to it right now in digital at about 192 to 196,000 bits per second. But when you listen to the recordings that DSD does, you're listening to it at about 3.5 to almost 20 million bits per second. There's all sorts of levels of it. And so we are putting together a beautiful sound healing frequency music series so that, for example, Elizabeth, Manon, you could go home, put your headset on, and listen to the sound bowls and be uplifted as if you were in a direct sound bath. Now, that doesn't mean that a practitioner is always much more beneficial, for sure, but let's just say in the interim, you can do this. And so that's just another aspect, like Elizabeth, you were talking about, how do we bring individual wellness into our everyday lives?
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm going to relate that back to sacred union, I'm going to talk about the fact that in and of itself, that bringing those sound recordings then creates a container that would be the sacred masculine. Because when we talk about the sacred masculine, we're talking about structure. And I'm not talking about gender. So when we say sacred feminine and sacred masculine, we're not talking about gender. We're talking about energies. And those masculine energies are so important. To hold the sacred feminine energies, which are the creative, the intuitive, the deep knowing, the music. When I think of music or the spirit of music, I always think of as this luscious, beautiful, feminine spirit. And that needs a container. It needs an instrument. It needs a bowl. It needs the trees, so that when the wind blows through, there's an actual differentiation in the sound. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So that theory, or that understanding, is really a deep understanding about how we as individuals can start to create wholeness within ourselves, and bringing in the idea of our sacred feminine and our sacred masculine, and having honor and respect for both of them, and not at war with each other, not competing with each other, but blending with each other. And that sacred union oil is about that. It's about helping us and our bodies understand, and it has that frequency that we are whole, and this is what it feels like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And to Elizabeth's earlier point, nothing needs to be named. The energy knows how to balance within each individual vessel. And so just with that intention alone, being able to use any one of the oils in the collection
For example,
and just sitting with that intention, right? And
yeah,
that's all you
absolutely.
need.
One of the things that I do, I take the concentrate and I will put it on my wrist in the morning, so that I will start out my day with that beautiful balancing and that empowerment. And then in the course of doing all of the work that I have to do, sometimes I will get a little fragmented, and it's very easy to pick up the spray bottle and I'll just spritz my face and neck and take it all in. and wow, I'm back where I need to be. So there are different, and then when I get out, I love taking baths. When I get out of the bath, I'll take the massage and body oil and put some on my body in key spots and anointing. So there are different ways to use it that help the body come back into alignment, alignment where everything's working together as opposed to feeling fragmented and moving apart.
Yes. Emily, would you mind
Sound
putting the Sacred Union slide
The
up
slide.
for reference? And what were you going to say, Linda?
just going to say that that's what sound does as well. That's why it's
Yeah,
such a beautiful marriage of the essential oils and sound, because sound knows where to go to. It doesn't have to
exactly.
be in, you know.
Yeah.
So these two things coming together are just a really powerful addition to your wellness tools kit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I said it at the beginning, and I think it bears repeating. We are vibrational beings of light. Doesn't that just make you feel warm and fuzzy just taking that in? It does me.
Yes.
And energy is sound and light at varying speeds.
That's what
And
we are.
so, of
So
course, we're influenced by sound and light. It's,
Well, and I think everybody, even people who are not necessarily into sound, will acknowledge that music is a universal language.
oh, absolutely.
And the sound that we're talking about is a universal language. And
Sound is
essential
light.
oils are a universal language. It's a matter of embracing them and embracing them both and asking them to teach you more about who you are and how
Mhm.
you can contribute to not only yourself, but to those around you and to the world at large.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, we could talk on and on about sound, right? And the sound and universe. One song, like I think everything is sound.
Yeah.
Everything that surrounds us is sound.
and
So,
music is the key language that brings us all together too.
yes.
That is a
Yeah.
factor in what we're facing today, which we won't go into, but what we're facing today, music, oh my gosh, is such a core support system for all of us, no matter where we are on the
Mhm.
spectrum. So,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I do want to make sure that as we come to a close that we that we talk about how people can use the oil, the Sacred Union oil, and to weave in an intention, to be intentional about what they're calling in. Can each of you just speak to what you want to make sure that people take away from this conversation regarding that and anything else?
Linda, do you want to go first?
sure. I would, my intention is that the use of oil with the focused intention is a profound tool for them in their wellness kit. And whatever else that they're doing, that is just something that's also so joyful and wonderful, because when you smell it and you just are uplifted immediately. It's something that I feel can be added very easily and simply, because we're always looking for these things that we can do to help ourselves with self-care. And this is really a wonderful addition.
Mhm.
And speaking to that, it's not terribly expensive. It's also something that can be used on a daily basis without any fear of, overdoing it. Um, and it can be used as needed. And what better way to have something at your fingertips that can enhance your life and call you to come back to center and to come back to being and to come back to wholeness.
Mm, I love it. Thank you guys so much. This conversation just it touches me so deeply, and I am a huge fan of this line. I use it every day. I tell everyone that I meet. I carry it around with testers so that everybody can smell it. It's just the most divine smell. And I will put a actually, let me do this for the listeners. If anybody is interested in buying anything from the Sacred Union line, they can take 10% off by going to my website, alignedenergyhealing.com, and just hitting the contact page and just telling me that you would like to procure some, and I will send it to you personally with 10% off. If there's anything else you guys want to add or offer up, we can also put a link in the show notes.
I just want people to
Thank you.
know also that if they have questions, if they go onto the website, elizabethessentials.com, and they have questions about any of the collections or any of the oils, they're more than welcome to ring or email, and I will personally get back to them with their questions. And if it's a multi question that they've emailed that requires my asking some questions to them, I will ask that we have a quick phone conversation. I want people to feel supported in making their decisions as opposed to going on a website and just choosing and randomly saying, oh, let's try that. I'd like them to know that whatever product they're choosing, including Sacred Union, that there's backup for it. There's instructions. There's help.
Mm-hmm.
And if someone wants to know more about sound or sound practicing, or please, my website will probably be on there as well, I assume. And you can contact me. There's an email. Just let me know, and I'm happy to answer anything.
Thank you so much. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I just look forward to continuing the conversation online and offline, and I welcome all inquiries to come in, however it calls to you all. So blessings, and I will talk to you next time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Aligned Energy, where ancient wisdom meets modern health and wellness. This is Manon.
And I'm Dr. Pat.
Join us for more inspiration to step into your power and reconnect with your inner wisdom. Be sure to tune in every second Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio. I invite you to like and subscribe to Aligned Energy with Manon on your favorite platform. And if you're ready to go deeper, visit alignedenergyhealing.com to book a healing or coaching session or schedule a complimentary discovery call. Until next time, stay aligned, stay empowered, and embrace the energy that is uniquely yours. See you next time.